Wherever you are, whatever you do, iBrandTV got you covered with the latest news.
On iBrand News Now,
it's about making history.
Top-notch news analysis.
Who knows how many of them that we have in governance?
Insightful breakfast show.
welcome to another interesting edition of iBrand Daybreak.
Business trends.
Hello and welcome to Business 24.
Entertainment gist.
Hello and welcome to the BTS.
Sport review.
This is the arena.
Fashion tips.
This is brands and fashion on iBrandTV.
And a lot more. Keep watching iBrandTV as we make your day worthwhile with quality TV broadcast. iBrandTV. Business first.
Hello there. Good morning. I can sense the excitement right here, and I'm so excited to be right here on your screens this beautiful Thursday morning on iBrand Daybreak. You're welcome to your favorite show on television. So if you're on the road, you're in traffic, in the office, just sit back and relax and enjoy all we have for you this morning on the show. It's Thursday, and we are gradually wrapping up the week and entering into a very restful weekend. My name is Margaret Opera, and joining me here is my amazing colleague.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to iBrand Daybreak, the third Thursday edition of the show, and it promises to be exciting as always. Margaret, you said we're heading into a restful weekend?
Well, for the viewers, you have a restful weekend. But for you and I don't know. I don't know if why don't you just pretend like you have a rest? Come on now, this make believe something.
That's the job.
Why did you have to do this? I was making them believe, well, the weekend's going to be restful for me. I don't know how, but you know, whatever the thing is, whatever happens, making the best out of the situation. So you may have a lot of job to do, but squeezing out time to rest is what. So I'm going to have a restful weekend. I wasn't lying. I don't know where you're going to go.
No, I was just asking. I needed to verify.
In front of our viewers, come on. All right.
Welcome, folks, once again. Now, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll delve into a thick of things, starting with the news update segment. Just stick around, please.
Welcome back to the show. And now it's time to delve right into the news update. And the first story here says, after 222 days and economic losses of about 546.5 billion naira, the federal government had finally lifted the ban on Twitter operations in Nigeria. The lifting of the suspension was announced yesterday via a statement by the Chairman Technical Committee, Nigeria Twitter Engagement, and Director General National Information Technology Development Agency, NITSDA. Kasifu Inuwa Abdullahi said the federal government directed him to inform the public that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the lifting of the ban effective from 12 a.m. this morning. He said the approval was given following a memo written to the president by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim. In the memo, he said the minister updated the requested president's approval for the lifting based on the Technical Committee Nigeria Twitter Engagement recommendation. Recall that the federal government had announced the suspension of Twitter operations on June 4, 2021, after the social media giant deleted a post by President Buhari for violation of the company's abusive behavior policy.
And still talking national matters, Nigeria's Air Force Special Forces on Wednesday rescued 26 kidnapped victims while on a fighting patrol along Benin-Gwari-Kaduna Road. NAF spokesman Air Commodore Edward Gambret in a statement said that the rescue operation occurred when the SF came across 5 abandoned vehicles with their doors ajar near Angoa Yako, an indication of forced removal or evacuation and likely a kidnap scene. The NAF-SF have extended their operations within the area with the hopes of rescuing the remaining kidnapped victims, while those rescued have since been moved to the 461 NAF Hospital in Kaduna for thorough medical examination.
And on the Africa scene, armed forces in the Democratic Republic of Congo have launched a series of attacks against the positions held by Allied Democratic Forces in Virunga National Park in the east of the country. The air offensive follows a joint operation at the end of November with Ugandan forces who are also fighting the group. Our series of bombardment continues in Beni territory, and today we have just bombarded several enemy strongholds. Today we caught them at 12 o'clock sharp. At the end time of their prayer, we are sure and certain that the DR Congo will win, said Captain Anthony Maulashai, spokesperson for the FARDC. On Tuesday, Congolese military sources announced the arrest of the founders of the Allied Democratic Forces.
And on the international scene, the U.S. Senate Democrats on Wednesday unveiled a bill to impose sweeping sanctions on top Russian government and military officials, including President Vladimir Putin, and key banking institutions if Moscow engages in hostilities against Ukraine. The proposed legislation, backed by the White House, includes provisions to help bolster Ukraine's security and encourages the United States to consider all available and appropriate measures to ensure the Russia to Germany Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, a tool of malign influence of the Russian Federation, does not become operational. Russia has amassed about 100,000 troops on Ukraine's border, and Washington is trying to dissuade Moscow from reinvading the country. And that's all on news update at this hour. We're going on a quick break right now. When we return, we'll delve into news headlines making the national dailies today.
Market just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pay you, even your fingernails go dey pay you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for una. Una don hear of Banga fresh palm fruit extract. All you need to do now make you go for the up, open am. Take the amount wey you want, put am for your pot. Which soup you wan make? Shey na egusi, shey na ogbono, shey na vegetable, shey na banga. My sister no waste time again. My brother no waste time again. Just go buy Banga fresh palm fruit extract. They go know say you sabi cook and you be better cook.
Banga, come make your food yummy yum.
Distributors needed nationwide. Phone number 081-6397-4447, 080-3564-4436, 070-6663-8213. Banga fresh palm fruit extract.
Glad to have you back on iBrand Daybreak. Now it's time for the newspaper review segment. So I'll begin with the Punch paper. The banner headline here says, terrorists on the rampage in Plateau, Niger, kill 52, abduct hunters and others. That's on page 2. And the writer says, Niger terrorists tied victims' hands to their backs before shooting them. That's coming from the residents. And Lalong demands arrest as invaders gunned down a team in fresh Plateau community attack. And going further down says, Nnamdi Kanu writes, begs US to witness anti-terror trial. That's on page 7 of the Punch. And page 28 says, Nigeria's poor economies as ex-Oyo Governor Alau Alaka, former minister, dies. Zamfara communities panic over bandits, 1 week ultimatum for 35 million naira levy, and that story is on page 14. Now to the bottom stream of the Punch paper says, Buhari lifts Twitter ban after 222-day suspension. Page 24 has the full story. NDLEA raids Lekki drug joints, arrests the general, others recovers tramadol and cannabis. Page 5. And on page 8 says, Fayemi meets Tinubu over 2023 presidency, Ekiti governorship poll. Now to the earpiece of the paper says, oil marketers begin establishment of autogas conversion centers in filling stations, and that's on page 24. Until now, 2 Borno local governments under Boko Haram firm control, Zulum tells senators. 3,121 killed in boat crashes in 6 months. That's an MBS report on page 24. And on page 2 says, INEX 20 million naira new voter target shaky. 2.4 million registered. And workers, retirees, kicks at federal government plans 620 billion naira loan from pension fund. That's on page 22. And finally, on page 14 says, 3-put flow as family begins consultation on burial. That's on Shanakon's burial on page 14 of the Punch.
Moving on from the Punch to the Guardian newspaper, the headline here reads, Federal government lifts Twitter ban after 222 days, $546.5 billion naira, economic losses. The rider there reads, stakeholders divided, say federal government should not gag platform. ECOWAS court plans to deliver judgment next week. We never left Twitter, and Nigerians react. On the earpiece that you have, Nigerians tired of killing, says Lawan, that's on page 3. You have declare for 2023 presidency, Igbo politicians and technocrats urged, that's on page 7. Gunmen kill 21 in Plateau community, you can find that on page 5. And you have Buhari, Makinde, others pay tributes as Nigerians mourn late Oyo governor Alao Akala. That's on page 6. You also have at the bottom stream of the paper why ex-SGF Babache Lawal was not reported to EFCC in alleged 544 million naira contract scam. And you also have COVID-19. Summit urges Nigeria to galvanize other nations to seek debt relief. IMF wants global collaboration to boost Africa's vaccination drive. You also have resign now, Diri tells appointees eyeing elective offices. And that's on page 8, and that's ahead of the 2023 elections.
All right, now to the Nation paper. The banner headline here says, bandits kill 51, burn houses in attacks on communities. The writer says, many feared kidnapped on Kaduna-Abuja highway. Defense minister in Zamfara. President orders sustained military onslaught. Lawan, Nigerians want action, not excuses. More of the stories on page 2. Federal government leaves Twitter ban with conditions, also on page 2. The bottom stream says EFCC rearranged Mofa over alleged 6 billion naira fraud. Government targets paperless systems. Now to the AFP says ex-governor Alao Akala found dead in his bathroom. Ex-minister Okongu dies at 86. That's on page 29. Man kills his own 3 kids, keep body in freezer. Sad story there on page 4. Ikoyi building construction began before approval. That's on page 38. And at this one now, equities gain 981 billion naira in 6 days. And the writer says investors earn 8.7 trillion naira since 2020. And that's all of the stories is on the Nation paper.
Moving on from the Nation now to Business Day newspaper, you have the headline here that reads, Nigeria stocks to watch in 2022. And that's an investment edition. You have top 10 skills employers want in 2022. You also have CBN World Bank give GDP growth projection for 2022. That's on page 2. And on page 31, you have African insurers, high-tech SMEs to boost 2022 growth. And there you have it, talking about the major headlines making our newspapers across, various dailies today. Margaret, which one is striking for you, really?
Obviously, the Twitter ban, after 222 days and with about 546.5 billion naira, almost 550 or 47 billion naira lost. 222 days and Twitter has been lifted, and Nigeria is saying we never left Twitter anyway. We Nigerians, we are really amazing people, and I think that's all I should have to say about that. Nigerians being so amazing that they do not obey instructions anyway, but that's amazing. And yesterday when that happened, I know I was awake till late, and what people said was the fact that there were arguments. I know Ebuka Obijendu came up to say some things that, and he and his colleagues came up to say that it's more like an election, it's almost an election.
Pre-election,
pre-election. So they need Twitter as a means of course.
Definitely.
They need Twitter to push their campaign, and also that's the reaction of what some of our top celebrities. So That's it for Twitter. I don't know if you have something else
well,
to add.
I think if you look at Ebuka's perspective, it's not far from the truth, especially when you consider, Nigeria's stance. So you also have to look at it from that angle that it could be because of political reasons the ban is lifted at this point in time. You never can tell when the next decision will be in terms of how they go about social media gagging or not gagging. But at this point, I think it's a welcome development for so many people.
Oh, I know this. Away from that, let's look at this top story on the Punch that says terrorists on the rampage in Plateau, Niger, kill 52, abduct hundreds and others. Now, we've seen what happened in Zamfara, the mass killing. I would like to call it a massacre. It was because it was mass killing. And there's this particular writer on the particular paper, I'm trying to remember where, oh yes, on the Punch still says Zamfara communities panic over bandits. 1 week ultimatum for 35 trillion naira levy, and that's on page 14. So we are seeing the rising rate of insecurity, how it's progressing. If I'm supposed to use that word, it's progressing.
They've been emboldened.
They've been like, you come out. I saw a video making rounds. I don't know how true that video is, of bandits recording themselves on this roads of Zamfara. So imagine the boldness, doing something wrong, but knowing that feel like nothing can happen and nobody can talk to us,
Where that comes from is the fact that some people are benefiting from the status quo with regards to the state of insecurity we have in the nation at this point in time. So they're trying everything possible to ensure that it remains the same. Because if it changes, they're out of the game in terms of their selfish interest and whatever it is they stand to gain. Now, when you look at the state of insecurity, it's the poor masses who are the receiving end of it. They're the ones who are displaced. They're the ones who are killed. They're the ones whose means of living, of earning a living, have been deprived of them or taken from them. In terms of farmers who can't go to their farms again just because of security concerns, among other things. Now, there's a point insecurity will get to that it has to be all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And at this stage, that's where we are when it comes to security in the northern part of the country.
It's gradually moving to the south.
So especially your Zamfara, it's been a recurring motif over the last 20, 25 years, even before Boko Haram came on the scene officially in 2009. You've always had stories of bandits in Zamfara. It is a recurring motif that shouldn't be happening in 2022. So now, there are measures that needs to be taken to address these things. And I think this is the time, the federal government needs to support the state government, because it's apparent that the state government is overwhelmed by these challenges. So it's about the armed forces taking the fights to them and just ensuring that the people right there are safe. Remember, yesterday, one of the papers talked about bandits levying, issuing levies to operators of, gold mines within the states. 10,000, 100,000. So it just shows you how emboldened they are at this point in time, and needs to be curbed to its barest minimum or even taken out entirely.
It's the audacity. Some people say it's the audacity for me, because you don't do, these things are, even before the government even labeled those people as terrorists, it took a while.
That's the issue. The government were very reluctant to even label them as terrorists.
But they are terrorists.
Remember that it even had to take a court order for the government to gazette.
After back and forth,
And when you look at terrorism in the definition, the sense of it, to the various, heinous acts these guys perpetrate, that it correlates. There's really no difference. I'm actually surprised, the Buhari administration took this long to be able to term them what they are, terrorists. Now, I hope that now that they've been addressed as terrorists, they will have, the impetus to take the fight to them. Because when you do not term a certain group as terrorists, there's a limit to how you can engage them in terms of operations. There will be concerns regards, collateral damage, regards human rights and all of that. But now that they've been termed terrorists officially, you can easily take them out without having concerns for human rights in that sense.
All right, I think that's where we should call it a wrap. Or do you want to pick on, I'm seeing something on Business Day, Nigeria stock to watch in 2022. I think Business Day is a really interesting newspaper for the
definitely
their business, and I'm seeing top skills employers want in 2022. Well, these skills
it's a recurring thing.
So
we hear it all the time,
and that's on page 21. Also, CBN World Bank give GDP growth projection for 2022. All right, African insurers eye tech SMEs to boost 2022 growth. You know, doing business in Nigeria, someone was really complaining. Rather, a relative of mine was complaining yesterday, and she was stating how difficult it is to do business in Nigeria. Talking of the things you have to pay, and I'm sure, according to reports that was just displayed on the screen not long ago, it said 50% of SMEs fail in the first 5 years.
5 years.
So you see how difficult that is globally now. Talk about Nigeria, where the system is really tight.
You have to look at the conducive environment for doing business in Nigeria. How conducive is it? Look at the economic policies. Look at the various, decisions that the government takes. Yeah. When you have a government that can just, out of the blues take a decision that is drastic and impulsive without considering, the various markets that we have, these are the issues. We remember the outright ban of motorcycles, commercial motorcycles, and we know what happened with that.
Of course.
It was something that sent so many people out of their jobs.
They had their reason, but come on, like you said,
it was drastic.
It was drastic.
It was drastic, So there has to be a conducive environment for doing business. Economic policies have to, also be favorable to SMEs for them to actually grow.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. But just to add, currently, the River State governor had put a ban on
about 19 illegal refineries.
No, not just refineries, on dispatch riders. So there's not like dispatch riders in River State as we speak. Now, imagine how many people have invested in that and how easy it is to transport goods.
Beyond those who invested in the business, also look at the number of people who would lose their jobs.
Okay, something I think if we go on and on and on, it's going to be a long conversation. Or we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the topic of discussion this morning. Please stay with us.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin. The allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products. From spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes? I have a solution for you.
Really?
If you sabi cook the banga, you're not going to enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extract for tasty African cuisine.
You go enter market, just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pain you, even your fingernails go dey pain you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for una. Una don hear of banga fresh palm fruit extract. All you need to do now make you go for the up, open am, take the amount wey you want. put am for your pot. Which soup you wan make? She na egusi, she na ogbono, she na vegetable, she na banga. My sister no waste time again. My brother no waste time again. Just go buy banga fresh palm fruit extract. They go know say you sabi cook and you be better cook.
Banga, come make your food yummy yum.
Distributors needed nationwide. Phone number 081-6397-4447, 080-3564-4436, 070-6663-8213. Banga Fresh Palm Fruit Extract.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.
Thank you for staying tuned. You are still watching iBrand Daybreak. Now it's time to delve into our discussion segment. Young Nigerians make up the largest population of the growing flow of migrants from Africa to Europe. In 2016, over 20,000 were reportedly involved in the Mediterranean Sea, a crossing where, I beg your pardon, let me take that again. In 2016, over 20,000 involved in the Mediterranean Sea crossing were reported to be from Nigeria. For Nigerians, moving to Europe has become increasingly difficult. Now, thousands have tried to travel irregularly, I beg your pardon, at their own risk. Since from 2017, hundreds of Nigerian migrants have been deported from various destinations, including Italy, Libya, and South Africa. These young people embark on very risky journeys across the globe, and casualties continue to increase on a daily basis. The topic of our discussion today is irregular migration, the dangers, the risks, as well as preventive measures. Margaret, irregular migration, also referred to as illegal migration. The incessant risk of just trying to travel at all costs to for greener pastures, even though it's not the legal way, it has led to so many people losing their lives or being imprisoned. Some have been enslaved. You have human traffickers, and some have even been they found themselves in sex rings where they're used as sexual slaves. How did we come to this point, really?
All right. Firstly, I would like to look at it from the beginning, from the roots course. The question I would have to ask, I don't know if it's a rhetorical question, is what would make somebody not mind risking his or her life just to leave a particular place, to migrate to another place? It says that the grass is always greener on the other side. Until you get to the other side, you now see that it's not really as green. Or may not even be, sometimes it may even be green really. Yes. But it's a 50-50 chance. So the question is, what will make someone not mind those risks? What would make someone feel so uncomfortable in where he or she is? I like to call it your climb, your ethnos, that you do not mind leaving, or you want to leave and you cannot wait to gather so much to be able to leave, and you just want to leave at all costs. Is it being uncomfortable? Is it the fact that you just got tired and frustrated of the place? Or is it that you just want to try something else? So all of these things are questions that, firstly, I want to ask, why leave? Why leave? And secondly, it's, people leave for different reasons, like I said already. So why not wait till? So that question is, how uncomfortable has your place of abode become for you that you want to leave?
Well, when home is no longer home, there's always the need to find home, if you understand.
Yeah,
okay,
sure. I was going to try to forget this. What I was even trying to say, or I was going to say later, It's the fact that if you look at the statistics, like you read, Nigerians, Africans, right? Not, of course, I wouldn't say sub-Saharan Africa. I would like to use the word, because African countries that are a bit comfortable. Sub-Saharan Africa, Nigerians, we have the people who have war in their countries and all of that. But you wouldn't see, just to cite an instance, you wouldn't see someone from the US trying to do this. You wouldn't see someone from the UK trying to do this.
Those are developed climes.
Exactly. So this is all the questions I just asked before. Why would it shows that maybe it's the case of being uncomfortable, hardship and frustration that makes people leave. So if we want to curb all of these things, we'll have to first start from why or handling the reason why they are leaving before you start telling them not to leave.
Let's look at, you know, the dangers involved. You know, you've talked about, you know, some of the reasons why people embark on such dangerous journeys, like you know, someone from a war-torn nation or someone where the poverty line is just too deepening within the country. There's always the need to seek for, you know, greener pastures. Quite all right. Let's look at the dangers involved. More often than not, what is reported in the media are the number of casualties from the Mediterranean Sea. Oh, a boat capsized, you know, carrying 250 illegal migrants and all of that. We do not hear oftentimes of the dangers within the deserts, your deserts, those who want to go to Europe through Libya and all of that. Now, most of those who have returned from Libya or wherever, they've often cited, you know, various instances of human trafficking, cannibalism, you know, sometimes, you know, sexual trafficking in terms of sex rings, amongst other things. These dangers, let's look at them one after the other. Human trafficking. Some folks are, you know, when they try to go through maybe Libya or wherever, they get captured and they are sold to certain, you know, slave owners, so to speak, slave owners within this, you know, current regime, and they basically become slaves, and they even live worse than they were living, you know, prior to leaving the nation. There's also the danger of, as I said, a sexual trafficking ring, those who, you know, kidnap ladies and turn them to sex slaves abroad so that they can recoup some money. You also have cannibals in the mix. We've heard from some of the returnees from places like Libya and the rest that have talked about witnessing, you know, harvesting of organs, that some migrants were killed and they had their organs, you know, harvested and sold and all of that. So it just shows you how dangerous and risky this journey is, yet people embark on it virtually on a daily basis. Why?
Like, it still boils down to what I said. For people who are really desperate. Okay, now I'd mentioned the fact that irrespective of all of these dangers, people, like you said, people still embark on all of these journeys on almost a daily basis, if not on a daily basis. It still boils down to the root cause of why they're trying to leave. You know, some people can be really so frustrated that they do not mind the risk factors, right? They do not mind it. And also, let's look at it from another angle. Aside the fact that your climate might not be so comfortable for you, we are looking at societal factors too. It could be pressure. Okay, now during the Christmas, we just finished Christmas and New Year holiday. You know, during that period, people feel a need to end the year with a particular kind of amount in their bank, account, or a new car, probably a new wife, or whether a wife if you're not married. I would say it's a new wife. A wife if you're not married. If you even as a lady, okay, are you coming home with somebody today? You won't even tell me that, but I'll tell you if you have someone for me, better bring it, or better you can marry the person. So don't put unnecessary pressure. So people are pressured to want to make it right. You see someone of, people say a woman of 25 and a man of 25 are not age mates.
Definitely.
So a woman of 25, you're saying you have
That's the myth.
You have that's a myth, right?
Yeah.
You have a car, probably you don't even have a car, it's okay, and you're everything, people are already asking you when are you getting married. But a man of 25, they are seeing you as you're just starting your life. A woman of 30, it's okay not to have a car, but a man of 30, they'll be asking you, where's your car? So all of these things are societal factors that make people want to make it irrespective of the ways they go about it. So you see pressure from loved ones or society telling you you're doing nothing, you're lazy, and also you feel the
to meet up to a particular standard.
A standard that the society had given to you, and no standard is actually the standard. No standard is the standard. So the standard people have put for you may not be the standard for me. So if you let society give you standards, you end up wanting to meet up. And trust me, when it seems like you've met up the standard or you're meeting up the standard, another one is getting. So how much standard can you meet up? So you see people telling you can never make it in Nigeria. Nigeria is hard, it's tough. And then you're trying to go, you don't have money in your pocket. Or maybe someone had gone, because whether I would like it or yes, the people who must have gone through this way and we are successful. Probably
there'll be few people.
One or 5 in 100. Let's just say 5 in 100. The percentage is really minimal.
Yeah, minimal.
So you see people who had gone there, and probably they are now telling you.
We've heard of reports that the 500,000 doesn't end there. You just probably pay one agent. The next person who would take you would also have to get his own cut, and before you know what happens, you're paying over $3,000, $5,000. And when you convert that to naira and you check out the cost of traveling by the regular means or the legal means, you realize that it's even more expensive. So it then begs the question, why do people still try to go through that irregular means when there's a regular means that is even less expensive?
Impatience.
For example, the whole, over the last 3 years or 5, most Nigerians have traveled or relocated to maybe Canada. It was like the in thing at the time.
Canadian embassy
and all. Right. And you look at the federal skilled workers, program upon which Canada allowed migrants to come in, I beg your pardon. And you realize that the total cost of it, especially if you're a single person, is just roughly within the region of 3 million. Both, what you're expected to have in terms of your account statements, bank statement, as well as the cost of, purchasing visa, medical examinations, your transcript, confirmation of your transcript, WEC, and all of that. Everything is just within the space of 3 million. Now, we've heard of folks who, travel through the illegal means, and when they return, they tell you they expended almost 10 million at different times.
And they came out with nothing.
And they came out with nothing. So more often than not, beyond the risks associated with it, it is even more expensive. Now, let's look at the issue of trafficking, especially, via the desert, the climate conditions. How well do these people, manage to survive through those harsh climate conditions?
I've never traveled, and I don't think, I know I would never have a need
to go through that means.
No,
yeah,
I'd rather stay in my country, and I know it's somewhere that I am safe and I'm okay, rather than go through that means. So I would never have to do all of that. But now the thing is, some people, why people risk all of these things? Why that's what you ask. It still boils down to probably desperation, being uncomfortable, the thought of I can make it elsewhere. Now the thing is, what I believe is, and it's a very strong belief I have, is something, there's no particular place where you can make it and where you can't make it. If you can, I'm tempted to say that if you can make it in Nigeria, you think you can make it somewhere else. Well, I'm tempted to say that, although the situation in Nigeria may be a bit tougher, but Africans and Nigeria have a thick skin. It's easy to...
A resilient spirit.
It's a resilient spirit. So except there's not, you just want to go there probably for new opportunities, but thinking you can make it somewhere else, you might really be... okay, now for the Christians, they will say, is that God's plan for you? Now, yes, but really that's really very important. So all of those things could boil down to
But what makes God's plan again? That's relative.
Well, that's why I said for the Christians, I'm a Christian, yeah, but I wouldn't want to go into that. What makes God's plan is not you going to the desert or going to the Mediterranean Sea.
Definitely. We're trying as much as possible to, enlighten the people on the risks, the dangers, and how to ensure that they prevent it. Now, let's look at, we've talked about the dangers, the possibility of being sold as a slave and being enslaved, basically. There's also a possibility of being turned into a sexual slave, amongst other things. Beyond the issue of cannibalism or even being killed and harvested for organs and all of that, folks who go through such horrific ordeal, by the time they eventually get there, Don't you think it affects their psyche one way or the other?
Obviously, it would affect your psyche. It would definitely, because that's a bizarre experience. Imagine you having to go through the road, seeing probably people who left Nigeria for Libya to go to Europe or something. You're like 50, and in your presence,
some are being killed.
Some are killed in your presence. Some persons were sick and died. In your presence, some persons couldn't withstand the dust or the cold, the hydration from all of that journey, and they dropped dead. And probably from 50, those who arrived in Europe,
just 12, 13.
12 or lesser than then. So you would even, you want to come back. You don't want to go there. You don't want to stay anymore. So, well, let's just go on a very short break now.
Okay.
I know you're enjoying the conversation. I am also enjoying it too. So take a very short time right now. We'll be back and this conversation continues.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found a solution. And it's Blemiviv Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiviv family.
Thanks for staying tuned. You are still watching iBrand Daybreak. Now it's time to continue with our discussion as we hit home stretch. And Margaret, let's look at, we've talked about the dangers, the risks, the preventive measures. I think if we look back at, you know, the root causes, then from there we can easily get the preventive measures. For war-torn countries, people who flee their countries, you know, like refugees, who are just trying to flee from debt and poverty and all of that. The solution will be to ensure that there's peace and stability back home that can serve as some sort of solace for them to, you know, return home. That's for war-torn countries like maybe Somalia, amongst others. For countries where it has to do with poverty, what do you think the solution should be, especially with the part of the government?
Look, like you had already said, you look inward and ask yourself, why are people leaving? I want to quickly cite the instance of the brain drain in the medical sector. A lot of doctors relocated. A friend of mine,
nurses,
in less than, someone I spoke to like how many weeks ago, he told me he was currently in the US. I'm like, okay. I was happy for him. A friend of mine too, 2 weeks, we saw in 2 weeks he was in UK. I can't tell them not to go,
definitely.
Right? Now, those ones were doctors. This particular one was not a doctor. So you look at the situation, he could afford it. He had lived in Nigeria. Someone who always believes in Nigeria was saying he's going to run for a political position, and the next thing he's telling me he's in UK. So what am I supposed to think? Someone who will tell me Nigeria will be better.
That's even a regular migration.
Exactly. So imagine someone who can't afford that.
Yes.
Look at the fact that someone who believes so much in the system can, and will tell you, no, babe, the country will be good. And now he's the one in the UK and telling you, look for a way to leave. So what do you call that? You see that this person has lost hope in the country. Aside poverty, it's a system favorable. We're just discussing about doing business in Nigeria, how difficult it can be. Is it favorable? Is it something you want to do and you don't mind the risk factors doing it? You see something you want to do, you know that it's going to be better. Even those who believe it will be better, they're beginning to have doubt in it. But although hope still remains, we are still supposed to be hopeful, right? So looking at the root cause, in terms of poverty, there's nothing. Look at the story of Singapore. They were nowhere. Is it Dubai? One of these countries you want to go there, you want to live there. How did they start? They had leaders who had, like Dr. Daya said, compassion.
Yes.
It wasn't about their pockets. It was about what would be beneficial, what they can do for the people, and not about what they can gain with the position. So, if you look at all of these factors and sit down and say, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right way to go? What's mark, indelible mark will I make if I leave office and do what make people, although you can't please everybody, you know, ice cream. Even some people don't like ice cream anyway, so you can't please everybody when you're not jollof rice anyway. So what, having to look and say, this is what I want to do. All of this monies, some countries are really rich. It's just mismanagement of funds that make them poor. So if the leaders can sit down and think for themselves with the conscience that has not been smeared with hot iron, all of these things would be a thing of the past in no time.
Okay, let's see how folks are able to, imbibe these. The call is still that folks should do the right thing. Go travel. If you want to relocate, ensure that you are going through the legal means. The dangers and the risks involved when it comes to irregular migration is just too much and devastating for any sane being to go through. And would like to use this as a call on, folks to desist from embarking on such journeys that are similar to the Middle Passage of the slave times. But we just hope that the government also has a role to play in terms of making the environment better for Nigerians who want to stay back, and hopefully we have more people going through the regular migration than the irregular migration. We'll go on a break right now. When we return, we'll bring you social media buzz. So stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. It's still iBrand Daybreak. Now it's time to take you through social media buzz. Margaret.
All right, yeah, social media buzz is still with what's buzzing. Twitter has been back, or is back now. And of course, Nigerians say they did not leave Twitter anyway. But I'll just read something for you. Now, the President Muhammadu Buhari has directed that the ban on Twitter be lifted after about 222 days. This directive was disclosed by the Chairman Technical Committee, Nigeria Twitter Engagement, and Director General of National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inuwa Abdullahi. In a statement on Wednesday, which was yesterday, January 12 in Abuja, Kashifu noted the approval was given following a memo written to Buhari by his Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim. So it's the federal government, in a nutshell, has said, okay, those who have been using VPN, no need to use VPN again. You can now use it with your full chest.
I still use VPN.
Oh, so you can actually use this?
Yes, it has been. Virtual private networks have been
but I didn't know that.
But it wasn't popular yet because there was no need to, adopt it. At the end of the day, you can understand why folks also decide to go through that path. So many people have their businesses online. Correct. And you cannot deprive a man, his means of earning a living, especially since it's a legal means, and you don't expect him to find some sort of alternative. Oh,
a second comment here from Nauswa, I said, was there a ban before?
It's still the VPN.
Yeah, Sweet Elaberry replied and said, rather tweeted and said, after I don't forget my passport now.
My password?
Password. She said now Ogo will kill them, but Ogo will kill anybody. Really.
Let me take Frank Donga's tweets where he said, my heart and tweet goes out to all small businesses that lost revenue and opportunities during the Twitter ban. May you find creative ways to recover, I beg your pardon, speedily. I will do my best to help with some free promotions. And that's what I just talked about. Yeah. So many businesses. The SME is the backbone of a nation's economy. The middle class, the people who are trying to grow their livelihood, infused into.
Thank you so much. Don't mind Samson, right? Don't mind him. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you had an amazing time. And please, whatever I want to do things the right way. About the illegal migration, do not let society pressure you into doing what you would regret tomorrow. Live life at your pace. It's not about who call police first. It's not who they win case, right? Slow and steady wins the case. So take it slowly, take it steadily, and trust me, the sky is your starting point. So I'll leave you the quote, an anonymous quote that says, to live a creative life, you must lose your fear of being wrong. To live a creative life, you must lose your fear of being wrong. Today is Thursday, and iBrandTV has more interesting programs for you after this one. So please join us tomorrow for another interesting program. Join us on Monday rather. Tomorrow is Friday. Join us on Monday, and please stay tuned to iBrandTV and have a wonderful day. My name is Margaret Opera.
And I'm Samson Oloide. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to the production crew who made this happen as well. And to you, our viewers, you make the show what it is. Thank you so much. Do have a wonderful day.